Welcome, teachers. I'm Lauren Shaw, Early Literacy Specialist for the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. Today, we're going to talk a bit about what I wish I knew about my students' psychosocial developmental levels when I was in the classroom. Now, if that sounds like a lot, don't worry. I'm here to walk you through it. So here's a quick overview of what we're going to cover. We'll learn the background and history of Erik Erikson and his psychosocial theory. We're also going to look at an overview of the stages from infancy through the age that a student would be in around 5th grade. I'm going to give you some strategies to take what you've learned and apply it back to your classroom. And then we'll finally wrap up with just a few key points that I want you to take back with you. Erik Erikson was a pioneering figure in the field of psychology. He was born in 1902 and he was a German-American psychologist. He studied a lot of the ideas of Freud and he took those and kind of developed them into his own psychosocial theory. His theory encompasses 8 different stages of development, and those range from infancy all the way through adulthood and through old age. He looked at different social factors when creating his theory and how they shape our identities. As an educator, I remember hearing about Erikson in undergrad, but I never really sat down to think about how his theories would apply to my classroom. So now I'm passing the information that I've learned to you in a short way in hopes that you're going to be able to take and do just that. So the more that you know about your students' psychosocial developmental stages, the more you'll be able to help nurture them and guide them through those stages in your classroom. The first stage is trust versus mistrust. This is the stage a child goes through in infancy. If an infant has a reliable and nurturing caregiver, they develop a sense of trust in the world and they believe that people are dependable. Unfortunately, if they don't have that, they may develop a belief that they can't trust adults, and that may lead to anxiety and apprehension. The second stage is autonomy versus shame and doubt. This stage is from around 18 months to 3 years. In this stage, if a child is supported in their increased independence and allowed to explore their surroundings, they're going to become more confident and secure in themselves. On the other hand, if they're overly criticized or controlled, they may feel shame or doubt, and that can lead to lack of confidence or fear of trying new things and a sense of inadequacy. The third stage is initiative versus guilt. This stage is around the ages of 3 to 4, or preschool. If a child is encouraged to plan activities, accomplish tasks, or face challenges, it's going to help them foster a sense of purpose and teach them to think for themselves. If caregivers discourage the pursuit of independent activities or criticize their efforts, children may develop feelings of guilt, self-doubt, and lack of initiative that continues well throughout their lifetime. The fourth stage is industry versus inferiority. This is the stage that's the longest and the most important for K-5 teachers, as this is the stage that spans from ages 5 to 12. This is when children begin to compare themselves to their peers to gauge their self-worth. In this stage, if children are encouraged to develop skills, they gain a sense of industry or a feeling of confidence and belief in their skills. They'll learn to work with others and have the confidence in their abilities to achieve their goals. On the other hand, if children receive a lot of negative feedback or are not allowed to demonstrate their skills, they may develop a sense of inferiority. And you can see how this would be the most critical stage for us to focus on when we're looking at developing and nurturing our K-5 students. That was a lot of information. So let's talk about some simple ways you can support your students' development through these stages. Trust is key. It will help curb some of the effects of not getting that as an infant, if that were the case. Autonomy is another critical piece to integrate. Anytime you can let your students make decisions for themselves, you're encouraging that growth. Initiative is the third application piece. The more you can encourage creativity and positivity and exploration in your lessons, the more your students will grow to be confident and do better in this area. The final piece is industry. Anytime that you can recognize their accomplishments and praise your students, You're going to give them that support and that nurturing piece that they need to develop a positive sense of self worth and a positive amount of confidence. And that goes a long way. We could talk for days about the in depth research done by Erik Erikson and his psychosocial developmental stages, but hopefully, this gave you a quick overview and some things to take back to your classroom. If nothing else, I want you to take this back. You are important. Children will often see far more of their teachers than they do of their parents. You have the ability to make a huge impact on their development and self worth. Your students need you. You're equipped with the strategies and the abilities to help the children through these developmental stages in a positive way. And finally, it all starts with trust. Once your students know that you care and that they can trust you and feel comfortable with you, they're going to be ready to learn. You're one of the biggest role models in a student's life. And I know that it can get hard and that burnout is real, but think back to your favorite teachers and the impact that they had on you. The reason that you became a teacher in the first place. Your students need you. And even in the older grades where they won't say it, they care a lot about your opinion. So love on those babies in your classroom. It could change their entire life.